Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen news, this time for the week ending the 4th of June. We find the coordinates of all the official infos, compress it down, and then deploy it as a nav beacon that anyone can use. Alpha 3.0's schedule report. So there haven't been much changes this week to the schedule report, out of turn anyway, though the window for an Eva Carty release seems to have been extended by 3 days. The current release schedule for Alpha 3.0 currently stands at between the 12th and 22nd of June for an Eva Carty release, the 23rd of June to the 5th of July for a wider PTU release, and the 6th to the 20th of July for a live release window. Obviously this stuff might change, but as it plods on week to week, more stuff gets completed, so things get moved around. Occasionally items get added to that schedule as well as being removed. Some more notable changes in the schedule this week though, although there were very few. Lighting for surface outposts is getting more love, and it's become its own feature. Talks about it separately basically in the report. There are also delays with AI turrets, inventory, cargo, airlocks, volumetric fog, as well as some other minor ones, but it's all still firmly within that current release window for the PTU and live build that we mentioned a minute ago. There was also a sneak peek of Delamar, this is the massive moon-sized asteroid, or planetoid, and it was abandoned a long time ago, and it became this place where activists and anti-Mesa people would go, political radicals basically, or people that didn't like the UEE, and this is what becomes Levski. It's Levski we're talking about here, that landing zone. And yeah, I think we're very excited for it being in 3.0 as a stretch goal, but it looks like they are really pushing to get that in for 3.0. Let's talk about CIG Austin and what they've been working on. They've been working on the organisation and animation of state machines for NPCs and mission givers for 3.0. So state machines are used to visually display to animators how NPCs react and transition between animations. Miles Eckhart is getting some further love and polish as they add various new techniques and updates to make him look better. His quests will be unlocked through earning reputation and completing other quests in the verse. They've also been working on navigation beacons, which will allow players to drop their own location markers, which will be available for bookmarking and quantum travel too, as well as shareable to their friends. This can also be hacked by other players finding out their locations, and also destroyed too by pirates and players. The conversion of Subsumption tech over to Linux for their backend has been completed. They've also completed the shopping service for game code end anyway, and they're starting to hook that up to the new shopping tech. They've been working on the levels of detail for the Cutlass, for its 3.0 being reflight ready and rework. They've created a diffusion gateway, and diffusion is their back-end cloud architecture. This is going to allow them to communicate between non-diffusion services and diffusion services effectively and efficiently, and they're also converting more services over to that diffusion architecture as well because it's more efficient. They also have now a tool, at least it's being developed for the creation of services, which is going to save their engineers a lot of time. They can make services a lot quicker. They also have, or using router meshing, which distributes services over multiple router endpoints for reliability, redundancy, and performance of their services. Animation have completed a two-handed carry animation, which includes the standing, crouching, and 0G variants. You're going to be able to interact with crates 25, 50, and 75 centimeters in size, lift them onto shelves if required, and move around with them in 0G. They've also mocapped various female exercises, start-stops for standard animation rifle sets, and bar and shopkeeper interactions as well. The ship animation team continued to work on cockpit interaction, smarter camera motion, adjusting geometry in cockpits, and adding the ability to make comm calls during flights too. DevOps have been optimizing the build and publishing systems and improving performance in general. QA have fixed and helped with many things, including testing new vehicles, ships, FPS weapons, as well as the procedural breathing and stamina systems, and the air traffic controller system. They are creating tutorials as well, and guides for the 3.0 player experience, which will be up on the RSI website when they're done for 3.0, and they've been adding players to the Eva Carty ranks as well, so for 3.0 there'll be enough players to test that early stage and bug hammering out process. Spectrum, so Spectrum released, or is about to be released, 0.35. This comes with the ability for the user to choose how they see the threads rather than the original poster choosing. So you can say, I want this thread to look like a linear style or a nested style yourself, and you can do that per thread. It also has additional uses with the tags for searching and filtering. Threads with highlighted replies will be marked in the threads list, and now Spectrum tracks each reply in the thread and will display with a yellow unread marker to indicate a reply that you have never read before. It also comes with various improvements for quality of life and performance too. After that's going to be Spectrum 3.6, which is going to feature better mini profiles and have actions available to them, like adding friends to follow and that sort of stuff. Also, it's going to come with custom roles that can be assigned, lots more formatting functions and options. As a stretch goal, they want to try and get private group messaging in there as well, and there's going to come with lots of quality of life improvements too. We got some extra Item 2.0 info in a featurette that they did in the ATV, but also in the happy hour where they talked a little bit more about it. So Item System 2.0 gives items a load of functions and customization. It allows systems to communicate with each other, including lights. Everything else, including lights, require power. These can be turned on and off. It also is required for the interaction system that literally allows you to affect these individual or chains of components with buttons and switches. Everything being moved over to Item 2.0 is part of the Alpha 3.0 process. It will give a load of improvements to being able to adjust ships, weapons, and equipment for balance, but also the stats on them at any time for any reason. The intelligent flight computer system stuff and flight model tweaks are going to be a lot easier with that Item 2.0 system conversion. In Happy Hour, they talked about basically all ships are obviously being converted over to Item System 2.0 at the moment. Ship components will be less restrictive than intended in Alpha 3.0 and where you can mount them and what you can do with them. This is for testing, and they will enforce stricter limits of components in the future. It's part of the Star Citizen thing that you have to make choices that are meaningful, and in 3.0 they're going to be slightly less meaningful, or you're going to have a lot more choice than you would normally be allowed. The stats page is getting a revamp as well, and got shown sort of what they wanted to do with it. It's going to change as and when things on ships or weapons change as well. That's going to be great because that's going to always be up to date in the future as well. They mentioned the Delta Patcher was an internal testing with studios, with all the studios pretty much, in the Frankfurt update last time as well. So that is making much needed progress. It normally gets mentioned in the Spectrum report, but I think it's probably moved over to Frankfurt for some reason now. The Crux Cup. So the Crux Cup is a yearly created, fan-created event in Arena Commander for racing. It's opening for registration in the next couple of weeks. There are prizes, and it's always pretty fun to participate or even just watch on stream. Check out cruxcup.com for more information, links, and to that and everything else we've discussed are going to be below as well. And that's it for this week's news. Every month we give away a ship. For June, it's going to be a Freelancer DUR donated by the lovely Firestorm962. Thank you very much for that. To enter, all you need to do is be subscribed to my YouTube channel and comment on any of my Star Citizen videos during the month. Do you have any questions for me or about Star Citizen's development or this week's news? A special thank you to my Patreons who allow me to create the amount of content I do. If you are interested in becoming one, or links to everything else in the world are below. Check that out. Thank you very much. Please don't forget to like and subscribe as well, because it genuinely does help me, and I will see you in the verse.